Today we are interviewing Jake McNamara, the CEO and
Jack.
founder of TruEnergy. It's a pleasure to be interviewing you today. My name is Therese Jousty. I'm a sophomore at Homedale High School, and I'm the founder of Company Roots.
My name is Rock Kavuru. I'm an 8th grader at Oak Hill Academy and the vice president of Company Roots. Before the interview, we just want to thank you for taking your time.
So I have my ping pong paddle and my calculator,
And I have my 10-pound dumbbell.
and we also have TruEnergy. So
Yes.
before the interview, we just wanted to try it out. So it says twist like an athlete, so let's try it.
So I twisted like an athlete.
All right. I'll take on any math problem you have.
That is awesome.
So the first question that we always ask is, what were your company roots and how do they help you get into TruEnergy?
So I actually came up with the idea by playing professional hockey. So I played pro hockey in Denmark, Slovakia, and Norway. In every locker room I was in, from pee-wee hockey to the pros, there was always energy supplements in the locker room. There was Red Bull, Monster, 5-Hour Energy. And I couldn't understand why an athlete who trains 3 times a day and eats these crazy diets is drinking this artificial type of beverages. So I wanted to create something more functional, and I combined a multivitamin, an energy drink, and a sports drink into one energy shot, TruEnergy.
Yeah. So what inspired you to actually create True other than being in the pro athletics type of field?
So I noticed that in other industries, or I should say the healthy food movement, people who live an active lifestyle are starting to adopt healthier trends in terms of what they're eating. Yet in the sports world, it's very artificial, supplements driven. And I wanted to be that company who offered natural solutions that provided real performance. So I'm trying to be an early adopter in the natural foods movement in sports. And I don't want to just be an energy shot company. We're in the process of creating a sleep formula, a focus formula, a more amped up formula, and then maybe some other things down the road.
So what exactly makes True different than the average sports drink? What one thing makes it different?
Well, in the energy shot market, our branding, like you saw, is very different. Our packaging is very minimal. So we're trying to go with a very minimalist design yet high functionality. So it's high end yet natural. So we have green tea, we have coconut water, we have 10 vitamins, electrolytes from coconut water, as opposed to putting like 83 days worth of one vitamin. We put 10. So that's kind of why we created it. And every time we do a run, we try to make it better and better. So the first time we did the formula, it actually tasted like bark, and we've kind of moved since then, and it tastes very, very good. But the issue is creating a functional beverage that also tastes great, because a lot of functional ingredients don't taste great.
Right.
So it's constantly a battle between tasting great and working great.
Yeah.
I remember, back a few years ago, my dad used to go to Whole Foods like every weekend, and he used to get these really, really weird snacks. So I had them, and I'm like, I'm having something good for myself, but then this feeling came down my throat, and I didn't want to swallow it. Just kind of wanted to go the other way.
No, I completely understand that. That's a big change in the natural foods movement right now. Is originally the products did taste very bad, but now food scientists have found a way to make it taste good and be healthy. So that's what we're trying to strive for.
And True doesn't only taste good, as you mentioned, it also looks good. You have awesome brand. You have an awesome way to brand your product, and it makes it look very simplistic, a minimalist design, I guess. So, how did you brand it in the first place?
So I've always had an idea of creating something with a unique bottle design. So to bring it back to the energy shot category, if you look at any of the competitors, they all use, for the most part, the same bottle design. So I wanted to create a bottle design that people look at and say, wow, what is that? Like, they don't know if it came from space or whether it's an energy shot or sports drink. So the goal was to get someone to look at it in a store and pick it up.
Yeah.
And then once they pick it up, be able to see right away what are our differentiators. And then you see the icons on one side, the icons on the other. So one side's the functional aspect, and the other side's the claims that we make, like vegan or non-GMO. And then we actually hired a former designer at Chobani to kind of bring out the dream.
Wow.
So we actually play tennis, and on your website it said that several tennis players drink True.
Yeah.
So why exactly did your athletes choose you instead of your competitors?
So I think a big thing for us is we're trying to use athletes who really believe in the product. So as you can tell, we don't have any humongous superstars, but we have athletes who really believe in it. And we're trying to tell stories about athletes who have really cool upbringings and kind of had to go against all odds in order to make it into the professional world of sports. So we're trying to tell really true stories for a true brand.
Yeah.
So those athletes that we have on the website actually believe in the product. Like we have, I think, 3 or 4 professional tennis players, probably 15 pro hockey players, a guy who's vying for an Olympic spot in crew. Like
Wow.
our athletes are all over the board, but
Yeah.
we really just send out samples to specific athletes and say, hey, we'd love for you to give it a try. And oftentimes they come back saying, please send more.
Right.
And that's when we know we've created a good product.
Yeah. So is there any specific type of consumer that you're targeting, an age, location, or income?
Yeah, so we're definitely kind of a premium product. So we're targeting anyone in the realm of, I would say, 25 to 34, someone who lives an active lifestyle, middle to upper class, just because that's, I guess one perfect example would be like the Equinox or Soul Cycle crowd. That's basically who we're trying to target. Whether you're a guy who's waking up at 5 in the morning to work on Wall Street or doing a CrossFit workout, or a mom who's going to cycling class after dropping the kids off at work, those would be like champions of our brand.
Right.
So we're really targeting anyone from an elite athlete to someone who just likes to live an active lifestyle.
So where do you generate most of your sales right now? And like, is there any like specific area or like store?
We do really well in New York and some specific stores like Jackrabbit, which is a running chain. We're in 25 of those stores. We're doing well in a pilot with Gold's Gym. We're in 40 gyms. We're doing well in pockets of Boston, like Roach Brothers, Downtown Crossing is doing extremely well. That probably has our highest sales velocity.
Right.
But we've got a account with Starr Market. Where are you guys located?
We're in Homedale, New Jersey.
It's like the middle area of New Jersey.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, we have a Jackrabbit in New Jersey that we're also selling at. So we're not all over the place yet, but we're trying to find very specific places that will do well. Like, obviously, I'm a hockey player, so we're selling in pure hockey too. So
Yeah.
we're still trying to get off the ground. We're in about 400 locations having all the vending machines we're in. So
Yeah.
Do you would you say you generate a lot of your sales from Amazon too?
yeah, so as you guys know, the world is moving online, and that also includes retailers. So a lot of the major brands that you've seen get acquired or have these humongous valuations like Warby Parker or Dollar Shave Club, they're online businesses, and I think that movement is starting to go towards food more and more. The issue for us is it's very hard to get someone to buy a 16-pack without trialing it in a store. So for this category, it's an impulse buy that has to be sold at the counter. So you have to get someone to first try it once, and then once they try it once and like it, they're likely going to go to Amazon and purchase. So it's really, we have to have both. But once we create a brand, I think most of our sales probably will be online 2 years, 3 years down the road.
So what are you focusing on right now? We noticed that you had many flavors coming soon on your website.
So there's a few things that I'm focusing on right now. One is really trying to figure out Amazon, meaning what are we going to spend advertising the product on Amazon through their promotions, but also how we're going to spend the money promoting it on Google AdWords and how we're going to promote it on social media to push all of that traffic into one place as opposed to diluting the brand. Because if we try to target a bunch of different online stores, then we're not going to get the same sort of traffic that we need to rank high. So that's one thing I'm really focusing on now. The other side of that puzzle is getting the influencers to back us, because people aren't going to only take my word for it, but they are going to take the word of many professional athletes or influencers on YouTube or Instagram, so on and so forth. And then obviously I'm reaching out to some major retailers, and we're in talks with some very big companies, and hopefully if they say yes, that could triple, quadruple our sales type of thing. But we're still very early stage, so we have to prioritize and make sure that we do 2 or 3 things really well.
Yeah.
So how did you gain or plan to gain investors, and what is your strategy right now concerning capital for the company?
So I actually to get the company off the ground, participated in 2 accelerators and 1 incubator.
Mm-hmm.
I did 1 incubator while I was playing pro hockey in Denmark. And then I moved back, did software sales for 2 weeks, 3.5 days, absolutely hated it. And then jumped into this world of entrepreneurship. And I participated in Startup 52 and FoodX. FoodX is backed by SOS Ventures. They gave us an investment. I brought on an angel and then 3 additional angels. So we've raised $100,000 to date,
Wow.
which compared to other companies in this category and beverage in general, they're raising millions of dollars. So we have to be extremely smart in the way we deploy the capital.
Yeah.
So a lot of what I do, I either outsource to people who are very smart or really specialized, or I just have to learn it. So right now I'm the only full-time person, but we have a handful of advisors and so on and so forth. But we're in the middle of hopefully raising $300,000, and that's probably the toughest thing is raising money, because you have to get someone to believe in your business just as much as you believe in your business, and you have to give them very strong indicators as why you're going to be successful.
Yeah. And I mean, I'd like to go on a little more personal note here, like regarding you. We watched your ad on your website, and it's just like you live in a gym.
I 100% live in a gym. It's actually, I should say 99% live in a gym. I have a little tiny apartment right outside the gym.
Mm-hmm.
So when people are working out, I hear them working out. Let's put it that way. It's not like I have a mat in the gym.
Yeah.
So I've lived there for over a year. It is a grind, but I surround myself with people, fellow athletes, fellow entrepreneurs, people who have been there, done that. And I'm a strong believer that you're an average of the people you hang around with.
Mm-hmm.
So the people that I've been hanging around with are very successful. I'm constantly leaning on them for advice. And I think it plays into our story as well. It's important as an entrepreneur to live your brand. And I guess I took that a little too far.
Yeah, you're the symbol of what it means to be a fitness entrepreneur in like this industry.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So, how many people are? So you said you're the only one on your team right now. How many kind of people do you outsource your stuff to, and what happens on a day-to-day basis in your office or bedroom?
Well, I do have an office. Like this is a.
Oh, okay.
The gym has a giant office space attached to it, so I have a giant conference room, and I make it sound worse than it is. This is actually unbelievable, so I can't complain. Day to day, so it all depends. I wear 10 different hats. I feel like I'm a full-time employee for 10 different sections of the business.
Right.
Some days it's outreach to big accounts, and sometimes it's really hard to get in touch with them. So I'll send reminders to myself to reach out to these very specific buyers once a week.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes they get back to me after 4 or 5 attempts. So it really is a game of numbers. Other days I'll focus on the marketing aspect of the business. So in beverage, obviously taste and product are important, but the most important thing in beverage is actually probably marketing. You have to get the brand out there. So sales, marketing, fundraising is a big part of my day-to-day, and reaching out to high net worth or accredited investors to potentially invest in the business.
Mm-hmm.
Networking is a 4th part, because the more people you know, the easier it is to build a business. And
Definitely.
That's the same true for fundraising, retailers, whatever it may be, influencers. And then product development. Like I said, although we have an energy shot, I want to be the most functional shot brand in the world, meaning I want to provide a healthy alternative to 5-Hour Energy. I want to provide a healthy alternative to NyQuil. I want to provide one for Adderall or pre-workout drinks or whatever it may be. I want to be the herbal solution, and I think that's our bigger mission.
Yeah.
So how did you get recognized by things like Forbes, BevNet, Fortune, Entrepreneur, BuzzFeed, just to name a few?
I think the biggest thing is reaching out to as many people as you can who you think would be willing to tell your story and tell a compelling story. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if I was living in some $10 million home trying to preach that I live this athlete lifestyle, then that would be a lie. So I really do truly live my brand. I haven't taken a salary in over 2 years. I live in a gym. I'm a former pro hockey player launching a sports drink. So it all plays into a really compelling story. And I think anyone who starts a company really should try and tell an amazing story that people can get behind.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. And honestly, when you send out emails to potential writers about former pro hockey player living in a gym to launch sports drink, it does get people's attention. And then beyond that, I reached out to some people and they said, all right, Jack, well, why don't you just write for us?
Right.
So that was another really interesting thing is now I've become a contributor to Fortune. I've become a contributor to Startup Grind, Drinkpreneur. And that's just a result of kind of showing that I have some value to the network and now I write for them. So that's another thing. I think too many people try and force others to write something for you, but in the end of the day, you're the best possible voice for your brand as well as for your industry. So why not write?
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of like what we're doing right now. We try to get writers because like we try to interview like 2 or 3 people per week, especially now before the tennis season hits and we're like grinding until 5:30 p.m. and then coming home doing AP classes.
I have so much respect for you guys. I actually coached tennis for 5 years.
Yeah, we saw on your website like that was like the thing you were doing while you're trying to grow this, right?
Yeah, if you guys ever need a new team, we're always looking for players.
So bringing up like the story and the motivation, I wanted to kind of reference the American dream because I feel like you're actually living it. So how should people pursue this, and how has it evolved since you were a child?
So I guess ever since I was a little kid, my dream has always been to play professional sports. That was like many other kids at that age. That's their goal, to be the next LeBron James or Wayne Gretzky, and that was really always my goal. And I told myself once I reached the age of 24 or 25, I'm going to try a new thing with my life. And when I was in college and later on in high school, I had that itch to be an entrepreneur, whatever that meant. And I always had these crazy ideas. And eventually I thought this idea matched my personality and matched my story. So I said, all right, let's jump right in and make this happen. So I think as a person, you evolve over time and your interests evolve. And for me, I know that the professional hockey life is behind me, and all I can think about now is entrepreneurship and building a company. And I don't know if I would say I'm the American dream because I'm not really rolling in the cash, so to speak, but I will say I go to work every day and love the journey. And I have never really looked back at it for a second. I just try and live in the present and push the business just a little forward every day.
Yeah,
that's what you're basically saying. You're looking at the future and not at the past. So how do you plan to expand True to be that $1 million business?
I think the biggest thing for us is starting to hire a team and surround myself with people who are experts in the sections we really need help on. For me, I think I'm good at kind of being a jack of all trades, meaning I'm good at a lot of things, but I'm not an expert in any. Mm-hmm. So I think I need to bring on someone who's really good at marketing and really good at merchandising, and someone who's really good in finance so that we can reach profitability as quickly as possible. We're going to need a team to hit the streets and make sure the product is presented as well as possible. And then hopefully I can learn to delegate. But at the end of the day, it's about creating an awesome team, and that's the one thing that I'm really missing. So if you guys are looking for a job, let me know.
We're here. So do you think that you should get your friends to be in your business, or you want to make it like strictly professional with other people? And what advice would you give to us and other people like us for team building? Because we're actually in that process right now as well, just getting high school students without pay, obviously.
That's a tough question. I mean, in terms of business relationships, I think it depends on your relationship with someone. Mm-hmm. So I've worked with a fellow classmate of mine, and we have a very professional relationship, so it worked perfectly.
Yeah.
But if you're best friends with someone and your conversations are more friends-oriented than business-oriented, I think that can be a major problem, because at the end of the day, you have to be able to tell them, hey, you're doing something wrong, and be receptive to it, and vice versa. If my friend who I worked with told me I'm doing something wrong, I have to be receptive to that as well. And oftentimes, friends who are absolutely too close, then they sugarcoat things that are not as honest, which is why the relationship with my fellow business partner was perfect. So it really depends on your situation. I'm a proponent of hiring friends as long as you have the right relationship with them. Yeah. But also, I think it's a safer bet to hire someone who's just an expert in that field and you still have a good relationship with. So I don't actually know the answer to that. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
So have any of your friends actually approached you and looking to like get a job?
Yeah, that has happened a few times. The issue for us is we're not really in a position to pay a full-time salary, and I'm also not a proponent of hiring part-time people in a startup
Yeah.
scenario. Because a startup scenario, to be brutally honest, is working 6 days a week, um, anywhere from 7 a.m. to 7 at night type of thing, and it really is taxing. And most people will want to get paid something for that. And
Yeah.
only the crazy people like myself are willing to kind of take the gamble. So I have been approached by friends, and I would hire certain friends for the job. But then there's other friends who I maybe have too much of a friendly relationship with that would be difficult.
Hmm.
But I've also been approached by strangers, and there's also a danger to that because you don't know them well enough to hire. So yeah, it's a tough question. I wish I had a better answer for you.
I mean, your answer gave us a lot of perspective, so I think it is a good answer.
Thank you.
So, how would you recommend that people gain traction on social media? Because I know you teamed up with a bunch of like tennis players, hockey players, people from all different areas. How do you reach out to them, other than just sending them like some TruEnergy?
I think it's reaching out to people who you think will be receptive to your product. So instead of just finding the top 100 influencers or Instagrammers on Google and then reaching out to them one by one, chances are you're potentially wasting your time. I'm not saying someone won't say yes, but I'm saying you're better off really researching your influencers and finding who's the person or group of people who are going to be most open to working with you. So to give you an example, Lululemon, when they initially launched, apparently worked with influencers that had around 50,000 followers, and
Mm-hmm.
they gave them gear, maybe some sort of money to post, and really they found influencers who loved their brand, as opposed to doing one-offs with major influencers. They found the right influencers. So
Yeah.
that would be my greatest advice for an entrepreneur. And we made the mistake of asking influencers to send us photos that we would then post to our Instagram, which doesn't really provide much benefit
Yeah.
because we have to grow our channel. So to do that, we really have to have them post it, then on us repost it, and then we double the message. So definitely, if you're going to partner with someone, have them post it on their account,
Mm-hmm.
then repost it, and you get so much more traffic.
Yeah.
I actually have a question about your Instagram. Do you manage it? And also, like, I saw that you have a giveaway today. That you had a giveaway today. So, like, how is that whole process like?
What Jeff Bezos doesn't know won't hurt him.
That was a joke. So if Jeff Bezos is listening, I would love for him to invest. Um, I do manage the social media, and it's very difficult because I need to prioritize. And the question is Instagram worth the time that I could spend trying to reach out to a big account like GNC? Or is it more important for us to try and gain 10, 50, 100 followers a day type of thing that hopefully those people end up buying the product or following us or trying to help us gain traction? And I do think the social media has been working as of late because I've
Mm-hmm.
learned it's very raw. Like you can look at some other accounts that are very professionally done and the color schemes work perfectly
Yeah.
versus I'm trying to be the brand that's just trying to create really fun, cool content that people will like. And so we strike out sometimes, but other times we get videos that are really funny and really cool. So I'm taking chances by not having a very fluid feed, but at the same time, I think the messaging gets across.
Yeah. So to end our interviews, we always end on the same question, which is probably the most important. What advice would you give to the next generation of entrepreneurs and leaders looking to further pursue their passions in high school and, in Rahul's case, middle school?
I say the most important thing is don't wait. I say start right away like you guys. I've been approached since I'm now an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I've been approached by so many people saying like, "Oh, I've got this awesome idea. I think it's worth $1 billion potentially." And I say, "Okay, great. Just start."
Yeah.
And I will say that I've probably been approached, let's say 50 times. Only one person has actually really started to make something. And quite frankly, that person has started to make something great. And shout out to Pivos, PVOS, follow them on Instagram. It's a buddy of mine who actually listened and he just said, screw it, I'm going to start this business. And I think that's the biggest message is don't wait because you only live once, take advantage of the moment and get going right away. And the other side of it is, you already mentioned it, do something you're passionate about, because it's the entrepreneurs who try and chase a dollar that when times get tough, they drop it and say, okay, I'm going to go do something else. And it's the entrepreneurs who love what they do, even in the bad days, that are going to strive forward.
Yeah. So today we interviewed Jack McNamara from Drink True and TruEnergy. Thank you for allowing us to interview you today.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you guys so much.